Yes, that's important. That's the most important key. Staying active is important, and me being off, for this time, it's not going to affect me at all. I can't wait to get back in the ring.
Unless you've been under a rock, you heard Jaron Ennis has signed with Matchroom, aka Eddie Hearn. Now, this is a pleasant surprise for boxing fans. For someone who follows promotional companies, not so much. This means with under Eddie Hearn, we'll see Jaron Ennis 2 or 3 times a year. He'll be more active with Matchroom than he was with Showtime or PBC. He wasn't officially signed with PBC, but a lot of people thought, including me, Ennis was heading that direction. He surprised me. I congratulate him because this proves to me that he wants to fight the best guys out there. If he was signed with the PBC, not so much. And the selection is much better because Eddie Hearn works with everybody except the PBC, and nobody works with the PBC. But the crop of 147 pounders, Boots also says he's willing to come with 154. You're talking about access to fighters like Santillan, Virgil Ortiz, Conor Benn, which is a better selection than fighting an old Keith Thurman or a washed-up Danny Garcia. He's basically got access to the top 147 pounders and 154 pounders, except for Tim Tszyu. Dare I say Crawford? We'll talk about that in the next video. Now, as far as Boots being undisputed at 147 and 154, that's going to be a tall task. And the reason why it's going to be a tall task, because currently the PBC has 2 titles at 154, and they might get their hands on 2 more at 147 with Stanionis and Barrios. I think the most important thing Boots did, and I think it was a great career move for him, is he's going to get more fights, he's going to be more active and more exposure than he would if he was with the PBC. And to me, in just my opinion, he will be facing better competition. But shout out to Jaron Ennis for taking control of his career.
But yeah, I strongly feel that, look, when a fighter outprices himself, that means you don't want to fight. That's the bottom line. And I mean, if David was with me, with Golden Boy, it would have been a different story. Obviously, I would have beaten the drum. I would have taken Benavidez to Mexico with me and call out Canelo and knock on everybody's door and look for him.
Oscar De La Hoya says Canelo versus Benavidez would be a different story under Golden Boy. First of all, let's talk about this interview. De La Hoya believes Magia and Canelo on May 4th is the changing of the guard. He believes Magia is going to come out and upset Canelo and become undisputed champion at 168. And then he talks about the $150 million, $200 million price tag Canelo threw out there. The reason fighters throw that out there, he's not the first one to say this, but he says the reason they throw those type of price tags out there is because they don't want to fight. He believes that PBC, Samson Lewowitz, are not handling the situation right. He says Benavidez has been a mandatory for Canelo for 3 years. That's not true. David Benavidez has never been a mandatory. He's been the #1 contender, but that's another story. He believes under his watch, if David Benavidez was signed to him, he said this fight would have happened already. When Oscar had Canelo under his belt, under his promotion, he couldn't even make the Charlo fight. He couldn't make the Demetrius Andrade fight when Canelo wanted to unify. And that is just one of the reasons why Canelo left Oscar, because he could not make the big fights. He couldn't even make the Virgil Hill-Terence Crawford fight. Actually, I think him and his team made Virgil Hill go to the WBA route instead of challenging Terence Crawford. We know it wasn't Virgil Ortiz because he's a warrior. And remember, we're supposed to have a Magia-Charlo fight, and he failed to close on that fight. The reason the Magia fight is happening, it is all due to Canelo and his management team. They wanted to make that fight happen. It had nothing to do with De La Hoya. And actually, De La Hoya admitted himself, it's on YouTube, that they wanted to cut him out the promotion. And they didn't even want to see his face. And look at the Ryan Garcia fight. That was all Ryan Garcia. De La Hoya didn't want that fight. B-Hop didn't want that fight. Ryan Garcia has made it clear to Oscar De La Hoya. And I heard Ryan Garcia say this before. You are my promoter. You work for me. Get me that Tank fight. I don't care how bad the terms are. Now, don't get it twisted. I did not say De La Hoya is a bad promoter. I just don't think he would make the Benavidez fight. There's only two people that can make the Benavidez fight. Benavidez, if he becomes undisputed at 175, or Canelo changes his mind and wants to fight. Other than that, the fight's not going to happen. Leave your thoughts in comments below. Jay Beezy, I'm gone.